Hi, my name is Kevin, and I collect old irons. My wife Kate has been into Star Wars and has even collected some of the figurines. I have one of these here. I asked her why she hasn't taken this out of the container, and she says that they have more interest and value when still in the original package. Might this also be true of old irons? Our first iron to show is this, a Dion Fluter, and this is a truly rare iron, the most sought after of all the hand fluters. This has patent dates posted as 1866 and 1870, massively constructed with these large curved plates with brass elements, and there are curved slugs on the inside as well. Again, a very sought after piece, and this one has an unusual additional component. It has the original box. The box has a little bit of the original paperwork as well, and this comes from the Dave Irons collection, so it has good provenance as well. The box is well built. It has fairly thick wooden sides, though these are merely nailed together. There is a lid, and that's fairly unusual for the boxes of this period. Usually the lid is missing. The box itself adds piece to the history here, but it does not add a whole lot of extra value. The box here, in addition to the iron, maybe adds a couple $100. The iron itself is worth a couple of thousand. I have another rather unusual iron with a very unusual box. This is the Fox rotating iron, original patent in 1882 with a follow-on patent in 1887, and finally a patent in 1904, which means that these irons were probably marketed for something like 25 years. And this has the box, and the box has an elevated cutout in the bottom. The box itself is with a dovetailed corners, and I can take this and let's see, let's put it around this way and set it in. Oops, we'll set it in like that. It fits very tightly. I also have the original slug, and whether that fit on one side or the other, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to try to force it in here. The box here adds to the value of the iron. The Fox rotating irons in last of several auctions have been going for $300 or $400. I would say that with the box, this would be $500 or more. And then there are the Enterprise display boxes. These are sometimes thought to be something that a traveling salesman would carry around, but I think these are too large and too heavy. If we look at one of the several Potts trade cards advertising these, we find, if we look at the back, that this is an attractive and convenient arrangement for the tidy housekeeper. Others of these cards talk about these as wedding presents. And I think that is actually how these boxes were used. These boxes are very attractive, nicely stained with some Enterprise markings on the top. They come in various sizes. This is one of the especially large boxes with 3 handles and 2 stands, and then between that and the bottom there is this nice cardboard element with advertising of other Enterprise products, and then we have the 5 bases underneath. This one is in mint condition, which is unusual. Oftentimes these things have shown a lot of use in terms of the box and in terms of the bases themselves, missing parts and so forth. The value on these things, again, they're not particularly rare. These will sell in a $2 to $3 or more $100 range, depending on the quality of the box. The Asbestos Dover Company also sold irons in attractive wooden boxes. These irons, we might remind ourselves, are from the early 1900s, which shows that these kind of boxes were used from, well, the mid 1870s for the pots, and then going into probably past 1910 for the asbestos and Dover irons. They come in various sizes. This is a small one showing some small irons and some different bases. Again, values here can be in the $100 or $200. There was recently on eBay an asbestos set. The irons were not in very good condition, but in an unusually small wooden box, and that sold for $228. This means two motivated bidders. I am guessing that two asbestos sad iron collectors are both working on good collections. There has also been recently a sensible iron in original wooden box on eBay. I could have bought this now for $100, but delayed and someone else got it. These irons date to about 1908 and again show that the wooden boxes were made for some interval into the 1900s. As we know from a previous video, the Potts type irons were marketed by quite a number of companies, and I have a couple of these in original boxes. These are cardboard boxes, and both are of irons in mint condition, which you'd expect sets in cardboard boxes to be, because the cardboard does not last like the wood does. This particular one is got a single handle and a single base, and this is from the Smart Manufacturing Company in Ontario. And the other one here has a single handle and three bases, and again in mint condition. What's interesting about this is we have the box and we have the irons in mint condition and no markings. We do not know where this is from. This set is especially complete in having a original and unusual stamped metal stand. So where this came from, unknown, despite the unusually good context that we have this in. The Asbestos Dover Company and some of the other spin-off companies that use the same basic type of irons have a wide variety of attractive boxes. They could be cardboard, but more notably is the wooden boxes. The asbestos irons very commonly had these wooden boxes. You see these boxes quite often on eBay in the $20 to $40 some odd dollar range. This particular one is a little unusual in its smaller size for a set of smaller irons. The information here is wood burned in the front and in the sides of the box. And over here I have not an asbestos manufacturing company iron per se, but one of the many companies that picked up on the idea and did their own variations on that theme. This is from the, as you can see in the front here, the Landers, Frary and Clark Company, and these had the Landers, Frary and Clark Company particularly noteworthy as a manufacturer of electric irons. These are quite heavy, and the box and the irons are especially attractive, I think, geared towards a more sophisticated audience. The irons in here make for a very tight fit. Let's just say a little bit about the boxes associated with fluting irons. The products of the American Manufacturing Company, that being the American, the Penn, the Crown, and some other fluting irons, machine fluters, have these large, fairly well-made, dovetailed at the corners boxes, and these are fairly common. You will see these in their original boxes, oftentimes missing the tops. And they don't think that the boxes appreciably influence the value of the fluting iron, except that the fluting irons being housed in this oftentimes have a lot of the original markings still in place. And we have over here another box, another company. This is the Shepherd hand fluter. Now, when you have an iron in a cardboard box, you know you're going to have something good inside, because the cardboard box would not weather very long. If you're going to have an iron in this, it's almost bound to be mint, and this one is. Now, about this box, and the box is rather flimsy. It's just enclosing something to be sold. It probably wouldn't last long after it got off the salesman's floor. But what they show us is that these cardboard boxes were used pretty early. I think these irons were patented in the late 1870s. I think they were probably sold in the 1880s. So we have cardboard boxes starting about the 1880s and wooden boxes extending almost to 1920. So these were wood and cardboard boxes, often in the same manufacturers, being sold in tandem. And now for a couple of really exotic pieces. This is the creme de la creme. What I have here is I have a Majestic Carver type box iron. It has a slug on the inside and it rotates, of course. This particular one has the fluter plate as well. This is just to show you what we've got, because I do not want to touch and play with what I'm going to show you inside this box. I got this box while I was in India, actually, on an eBay auction. Let me lift it up. It is a cardboard box. This iron would date, patent 1898, so probably date in the very early 1900s. And I have a beautiful original cardboard box, top and bottom, and it has all the various pieces. Here is an original handle for taking out the slugs. These are quite rare, and in company with everything else, triply rare. And we have the original base, and again, this is all chromed, and I really am reluctant to even get my fingerprints on this. And you're looking at it pretty much the way I got it. It has the original manufacturing brochure with information on its use. We have one slug, and let's use this here. Well, and a second slug. Do it that way. And we have within a smaller box, and I will open this up. And we have here, I will pull this out, in its original box, with the original wrapping, all nicely in its original chrome colors, a Majestic, complete with all the parts in the original box. I bought this for $500, and I was very happy. The iron by itself might be a couple of $100, with the base plate maybe a little bit more, but with all this packaged together is almost impossible to find. And this is another exotic and interesting box, and let me just show you what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at one of these. It's called a Streamlined Pots. They were marketed by Montgomery Ward circa 1930. This one's in pretty good condition. It's got the original wood handle and so forth. But now we're going to look at how they arrived in the box. And let's first of all, I'll read off the front. This is addressed to Mrs. Ralph Green in Southwest Harbor, Maine. We actually found this in Southwest Harbor, Maine on our first trip downstate after we got here 35 years ago. Little shop, and here it was, $28, which was a lot of money at the time. And it was shipped from Boston, Massachusetts, maybe a Montgomery Ward shop there. It cost 41 cents to mail. Unfortunately, there's no postmarks, so we don't know an exact date, but probably about 1930. And I will open this up and I'll pull one of these things out. Here is what the shoe looks like, and they were painted in silver. You never see them this way because of course the paint doesn't last. They are marked 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to pull the handle out, and this is the handle as these things originally arrived. Let's go ahead and see if we can put this on its original. Okay. Get that done right here. Little did we know, these came originally with a stitched cloth cover on the handle. Who would have known? We would never have seen this or known about this except for an original mint set in the original box. So that's one of the important things about seeking out these original boxes is that you get to see them as they originally were and not what you find them in that condition after 100+ odd years. And let's just talk a little bit about the original boxes from the gasoline irons, also the electric irons from 1930 on. They are very common, and the boxes don't really add any particular value. Let's just show, I happen to have a few of these here. This is a American iron from Minnesota in the original box. This iron is shipped to Mrs. W.G. Parsons in Etna, Maine. I found this in an antique shop right in that small town. It has the original beautiful pump and the iron, and it has all the various parts lists and so forth. This one has one thing about these boxes is you oftentimes have the wrench and so forth. The reason that these are commonly found is that these gasoline irons had a lot of parts and had wrench and funnel and all this other stuff, and it's easy just conveniently to put them together in the attic eventually or in the basement, and years later they come out and are available to us. This is another item from Montgomery Ward, and again it's all in the original box, again with parts and stuff in the bottom. Here it is in very good condition. Each of these irons that I'm showing here with the box is probably worth about 20 bucks. These things are very common and not very rare. So I'm going to pull these down. I have one last piece to show you, and it is pretty much the same thing here. It is a gasoline iron in that same size box. Let me pull it up here. And this is wrapped up in tape, and the tape wrapped around here says contents, merchandise, 4th class, blah blah. The Monitor Satiron Company, Big Prairie, Ohio. This is a Monitor Satiron in its original box, unopened. So I know what you expect of me, folks. We're going to unopen this and see what it looks like in all of its glory. But then again, we all know from our Star Wars figurines that you should not take them out of the original packaging. So this is going to stay as it is. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again. And please subscribe and continue doing all the good work you're doing.